Good morning. Welcome to the DFS Army YouTube channel. I am Razzle11, and you can find me on X at Razzle11Grinds. We are going to take a look at some pitching for today. It is Monday, the 13th of May. We have a 12-game main slate. Just one game with any real weather worries, and that's in Chicago, the White Sox and Nationals, which really is a game that we probably aren't going to target too much. Um, Maybe some one-off bats in that one, but two teams we rarely want to utilize in our DFS lineups. As usual, this is a first look at the slate, and I will look at DraftKings since is where a majority of my action is. On FanDuel, my pitcher pool is always much smaller. We don't have to get as creative, as I always say, since pricing isn't quite as tight as DraftKings is. So, um, all right, with that out of the way, let's take a look at some pitchers. At the top, we get Yamamoto. Has been very strong, very steady since that first start of the season. Hasn't showcased some gigantic ceiling by any means, but has just been really, really good. And obviously, we know the Dodgers, our offense is elite. Um, Man, I'm not sure if it's going to be Yamamoto or it's really weird. DK DFS wise says Yamamoto. DK Sportsbook has Gavin Stone pitching. So that's interesting. Right now, I see the Dodgers as minus 185 favorites. So we'll say that no matter who pitches for the Dodgers, they are going to be in my pitcher pool. Yamamoto definitely better than Stone, but still, uh, the Giants have dealt with some injuries to their outfield. Their lineup has weakened a little bit. It is an elite pitcher's park, so just give me whoever the Dodgers are sending out there. Next two guys facing off against each other, uh, Imanaga and Reynaldo Lopez. Game total sitting at 8 in this one. Juice on the under. Uh, but the weather in Atlanta is kind of prime for some offense to start showing up. Uh, Lopez is a minus 148 favorite. K numbers between the two both have a 5.5 K prop. Both have juice on the under in this one. Lopez has actually been phenomenal. Walks are kind of there, which is a worry. I still think at some point he's going to hit more of a wall, having been a reliever for the last handful of years. But I think he's viable on this option, or on the slate, sorry. I think Imanaga is as well, even though I don't really want to use pitching against Atlanta all too often. Um, they can go through some slumps, and Austin Riley might be out of the lineup. He left last night's game early. We could get a slightly weaker lineup, and Imanaga's just been impressive so far. He absolutely shut down the Dodgers early in the season in his 4 innings, so there's upside for Imanaga. And I wonder if people are going to kind of skip over him because he's facing Atlanta. So maybe it is easy to get heavier on the field at just 15 to 20% in our pool. Mitch Keller taking on the Brewers. K prop of 6.5, juice on the under. He's a slight underdog. The Brewers are minus 142 favorites. He's coming off of a complete game. That kind of worries me a little bit. 109 pitches. He did get a couple extra days of rest in there, though. So maybe that's a benefit to him. But, man, uh, I'm not. I'm gonna have to dig into Mitch Keller's last couple of years I'm sure he doesn't have a whole lot of complete games or anything, but uh, a big innings jump, from throwing five in each of the last couple starts to a complete game. I could see him having a few issues. There are some strikeouts to be had against Milwaukee, but I'm not sure that I'm going to end up going to Mitch Keller. That's one I'm going to definitely want to look into as the day goes on. George Kirby and Brady Singer, I am in on both of those guys. Singer, because we know Seattle strikes out a ton. Uh, Kirby's a minus 155 favorite. K props, Singer at 6.5, Kirby at 5.5. Both have slight juice on the under. Actually, Singer's slight juice on the under. Kirby juices pretty solidly on the under. But Kirby is the favorite at home. Great Pitchers Park. He's coming off of a rough start against the Twins. Um, Decent little bounce back spot, I think, for him. And Singer gets the boost, like I mentioned, the strikeout upside. Uh, has allowed one run in each of his last three starts. 2 runs or less in all but one start this season. Definitely something to pay attention to. Uh, so I definitely like that matchup for pitching. Cutter Crawford, I think he's definitely in play. I think the wind is blowing out in Fenway, so that is a worry. K prop at just 5.5. Juices on the under. Uh, Trying to find the line quick here. He's a minus 120 favorite. Game total of 8 right now. I think Cutter Crawford certainly is in play because we have been using pitching against Tampa Bay, and I think I'm going to continue that. Bybee on the road, where he has been best, but he's taking on a Texas squad. But that Texas squad is coming out of Coors. Didn't get a day rest. They played yesterday afternoon in Coors. I think I'm going to be interested in Bybee, and it's something that I'm not used to saying because I don't necessarily want to pick on Texas all that much. The game is close to being a pick 'em, but the game total is at 8.5. K prop of 4.5 with juice on the over. I think Bybee is one of those guys that kind of falls in with maybe Imanaga, where he might go overlooked. So then I do have, some interest there because of that. Zach Eflin against Boston. I mean, I don't mind picking on Boston, but like you said, the weather in Boston kind of set for some hitting. Eflin's been all over the place this season. Hasn't been the greatest on the road. I'm gonna have to kind of dig into his numbers against Boston. Uh, Normally a guy that I don't mind. I think he's pretty solid overall. K prop of 5.5, juice on the under as well. Christopher Sanchez, somebody I'm definitely going to use against the Mets. Um, Even though the Mets did just walk off the Braves last night, Sanchez has been really good. A couple of bad starts, but aside from that, been really solid this season. K prop of 4.5, juice on the over. Uh, we do know the Mets don't strike out a ton, but he's a minus 120 favorite. Game total just 7.5 with juice on the under in that one. Sanchez is going to be a guy that I think I'm going to like quite a bit. I'm not going to be expecting some massive upside game, 10 strikeouts or anything, but uh, 6 innings of one run ball with 5, 6 strikeouts seems like something that could end up happening for him. Not really going to take Hicks against the Dodgers. Um, K's really haven't been there as a starter, aside from one. Even though it is a pitcher's park, I just don't really think I'm taking him. Ashcraft, probably not going to go to Ashcraft either. Walks have been an issue. He can give up some home runs. Uh, I think this Arizona squad is dangerous enough. Don't really have a whole lot of interest. Montgomery, I do like the K upside for the Reds, but I don't like the way that he's throwing the ball. I'm just not a big fan of pitchers sitting out spring training, looking for contracts or whatever and signing late. Usually it takes a while for them to kind of catch up. And even then, they just have slightly off years. So I'm just not overly interested in Montgomery. His last start did come against the Cincinnati squad. The K's weren't there, which they haven't been there yet this season. So with Montgomery, I think we're still in a wait and see pattern at this point. If he does get rolling, then we can definitely jump on him for a number of starts. No interest in Lorenzen against Cleveland. Trevor Williams against the White Sox. Like I mentioned, there was some weather. He has been phenomenal, especially his last four starts, taking on a weak White Sox team. I think we have to be very interested in him. Very interested in seeing what his ownership number is going to look like. Shamanaya against Phillies, not really all that interested. Walks are up, Ks aren't really there. Phillies, the best record in baseball. Uh, I don't really think we have a need to go there. Arrighetti against Oakland. I think there's going to be people talking about Arrighetti. I don't know that I'm going to get there. Walks are an issue. He's given up a lot of hits. Oakland's just hitting home runs. I mean, there's strikeout upside, but they're hitting home runs. I just don't know if I want to blindly go with Arrighetti in this one. I think I'd rather just play Williams and just hope that that game goes off. Colin Ray against Pittsburgh. The matchup itself isn't bad, but Colin Ray just doesn't seem to offer a ton of upside. So he's just somebody that I'm probably going to push aside. Um, Flexing against Washington, I'm not really going to go there. But the only other guy down here I'm considering would be Randy Vasquez. Looked pretty solid in his last appearance. 4 1/3. Got up to 83 pitches. Throws a lot of pitches early, but um, taking on the Colorado squad that we've been picking on, and Colorado coming out of a series in Coors, I think Vasquez is probably going to be somewhat popular as an SB2 in GPPs. So I'm curious with his ownership as well. So there we have it. There's quite a few names that I've kind of talked about today. We're probably going to have to trim down our pitcher list as we get closer to first pitch. But there is the first look at pitching. If you enjoy what I bring to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell on, turn the notification bell on, sorry, to get the alert anytime we drop videos here at DFS Army. If you want to join us, get access to our coaches, tools, sheets, optimizer, Discord, etc. I'll put links in the description below. You can use promo code RAZ, that's RAZ, for 10% off monthly. And as always, best of luck, everybody.